Welcome to today's deep dive. We have a really fascinating one for you today.
Yeah, we really do. It's a great topic.
So our mission today is to unpack this profoundly practical framework for spiritual growth. It's extracted from a sacrament meeting address, which is, a specific worship service in the Latter-day Saint tradition. And this address synthesizes wisdom from Liahona magazine articles, scriptures, and teachings from various spiritual leaders.
Right. And I think to really get what we're talking about, we need to set the stage with the core context of the source material.
Yeah, totally.
So the sacrament is described in this tradition as the most sacred time of the week. It's a dedicated time to remember Jesus Christ's sacrifice.
Right.
But during this time, a covenant is made. And that covenant carries this staggering promise, which is that you will, quote, always have his spirit to be with them.
Which is a huge promise. And that brings up the big question for you, the listener. How do we actually make that promise a reality in daily life? Because, it's clearly not automatic.
No, definitely not.
You don't just participate in a Sunday ritual and then float through your Monday morning commute on a magical cloud of spirituality.
Right, it takes work.
Yeah.
The source actually provides a really specific roadmap of 5 foundational steps, and they're paired with 5 highly specific daily training exercises.
Which I love because it's so actionable.
It is. And the narrative setup here is super interesting. We're going to break down this framework, and you'll see it moves from the internal environment of the mind out into our physical actions, and then finally into community connections.
Okay, so let's jump right into step 1. It's all about creating the environment, the cultivation mindset.
Right.
The source cites a teaching from President Packer, who states very firmly that spiritual growth absolutely cannot be forced.
Which is such a countercultural idea, honestly.
Oh, completely. I was thinking about this earlier. It's like trying to yell at a tomato plant to grow faster. Like you can't just stand there and scream, "Produce tomatoes right now." It doesn't work. But in our modern productivity-obsessed culture, isn't forcing results exactly how we're trained to operate?
Oh, absolutely. We hustle, we grind. But that's exactly why this matters so much spiritually. Instead of applying external pressure or noise, the goal is to cultivate inner peace.
So you can't just spreadsheet your way to spiritual connection.
Exactly. You have to open your heart and mind to create literal space for the Spirit's quiet voice to speak. Without that space, the spiritual buds, going back to your tomato plant analogy, they just cannot naturally sprout.
Right. They get choked out by the noise.
Yeah.
So the actionable daily practice for this, they call it practice 1, is quiet time. And it is super strict. Every single day, you must step away from your phone and the TV for exactly 15 minutes.
Which honestly sounds so brief.
That's excruciating at first.
It really is. 15 minutes of pure silence can feel like an eternity.
Yeah, but the goal isn't just to stare blankly at a wall. You're supposed to empty your mind, meditate, and write down feelings of gratitude. It's about intentionally cutting through the mental noise to create that vital internal space.
Right. And that transitions us perfectly to the next step, because once you've cultivated that quiet 15-minute space and you can hear the Spirit, what do you actually do with what you hear?
You have to do something with it.
Exactly. Inner peace has to translate into outward movement. So step 2 brings in teachings from Elder McConkie and President McKay, who explained that faith requires action.
It's not passive.
Right. Prayer is not just passively making a wish list.
Yeah.
You have a responsibility to perform righteous actions to actually become worthy of the answers you're praying for. Faith only becomes a living thing when it is acted upon.
Okay, let's unpack this because I think it's brilliant. It's the difference between asking for a job and actually sending out your resume.
That's a great way to put it.
You can't just sit on the couch and pray for a career change. You have to meet the universe, or in this case, God, halfway.
You really do. And the daily practice for this, practice 2, is a specific morning routine.
Yeah, every morning you pray specifically to ask where the Lord wants you to be and what he wants you to do that day.
Not like a 5-year plan.
No, just today. What do you want me to do today?
And the crucial next step is you must then add concrete items to your daily action plan based on that prayer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like planning to help a struggling coworker or intentionally speaking kind words to family. It transforms prayer from just, mere words into a collaborative working relationship with God.
A collaborative working relationship. I love that. But reading through this, I hit this natural dilemma.
What's that?
Well, think about it. If I'm taking all this intentional action every single day and I'm checking off my spiritual to-do list, it's really easy for me to start patting myself on the back.
Oh, the ego trap.
Yes. I'm going to start thinking, wow, I'm the one doing all the heavy lifting here. Look how spiritually advanced I am.
Right, human nature.
Yeah. Doesn't this heavy focus on daily action naturally breed a massive ego?
Yeah. It totally can. Which is why step 4 is the vital counterbalance. It's the paradox of power. We must rely on the Spirit, not ourselves.
Because true power doesn't come from ego.
Exactly. True power doesn't come from self-confidence, arrogance, or like your own personal talents. It comes from humility and trust in Christ. The Spirit specifically works through humble and faithful hearts.
So if you're feeding your ego, you're closing off that space you just created.
Yes. So the daily practice for humility practice 4 is actually really physical.
Yeah, when you face a major decision or a difficult situation, before leaning on your own knowledge or abilities, you physically kneel down to pray for the Spirit's guidance.
The physical act of kneeling is huge. It completely changes your posture, mentally and physically. But the real aha moment here is the journaling exercise attached to this practice.
This part is so intense.
It is. You are instructed to write in your journal, literally write these exact words. Today's success is not my power, but the result of relying on the Spirit.
Wait, really? Writing that down every time?
Yes. And psychologically, that shift is so powerful. It actively rewires your brain to attribute success to Christ, rather than getting caught in the trap of your own ego.
Wow.
It turns you into a true disciple who testifies of the Lord's power, rather than just testifying of your own hustle.
That makes a lot of sense. You're constantly checking your own pride.
Exactly. And true humility naturally forces us to look outward. Which brings us to the next thematic transition. A spiritual journey is fundamentally not an isolated endeavor.
Right, you can't just be humble in a vacuum.
No. So we synthesized steps 3 and 5 here. It's about collaborating with priesthood leaders and people of faith, and leading with love and service.
The source cites Elder Hales and Elder Bednar here, right?
Yes, and they explain that setting an example is the most powerful message. Loving actions open the hearts of people who are entirely unreachable by mere words.
Because you can't argue someone into feeling loved.
Exactly. Furthermore, leaning on bishops, ministering brothers and sisters, and this community of faith is essential because mutual support strengthens everyone's individual spiritual power.
So, listener, I want you to consider this for a second. Think about the last time someone truly changed your mind about something important. Was it because they delivered a perfect, airtight lecture? Or was it because of how they treated you?
It's almost always how they treated you.
Always. So, the final 2 actionable trainings, practices 3 and 5, they lean right into this. First, practice 5. Every morning, you set a goal to do one specific act of kind service for just one person.
And again, it doesn't have to be a grand gesture.
No, it could be as small as a warm greeting or a quick thank you note. But then you have to record and reflect on the result of that action.
Tracking the ripple effect.
Exactly.
And then there's the final piece, practice 3. Once a week, you carve out time to share your spiritual experiences and learnings with family or friends and privately pray for people you see who need help.
Which feels like it changes your identity a bit.
It totally does. It shifts you from being just a consumer of spiritual knowledge into an active instrument for the Spirit within your community. You're a conduit, not just a container.
I really like that. A conduit, not a container. Okay, so let's circle back to the core premise here. Keeping the covenant promise of having the Spirit is not a one-time magical event.
No, it's the result of continuous, deliberate daily habits.
Right, and the source actually echoes a direct challenge to you, the listener. Look at these 5 practices.
Right, let's review them. Quiet time, action-oriented morning prayer, kneeling before deciding, journaling your reliance on the Spirit, and the daily goal of one kind act.
Exactly. The challenge is to pick just one of them.
Just one.
Pick one to seriously practice this week to invite more revelation into your life.
And the source concludes with a really firm testimony of Jesus Christ's living reality and his desire to guide us through the Spirit.
It's a really comprehensive roadmap, but as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final lingering question to ponder long after this deep dive ends.
Okay, let's hear it.
We talked earlier about President Packer's idea that you cannot force spiritual growth, you can only create the environment for it.
Right, the tomato plant.
Exactly, the tomato plant. So take a look at your life outside of spirituality right now. Your career, your relationships, your personal goals.
Interesting.
What is something you are desperately trying to force into happening right now that might actually just need you to step back, Stop yelling at the tomato plant and focus on creating a healthier environment for it to naturally thrive.